All right, here we go. Episode 16, Chris Opdyke Show. Today, having guests from Thrive Spine and Sports Rehab. I have in Joe Marchitelli and AJ Adamczyk. Guys, welcome to the show. How's everybody doing today?
Very good. Very good.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
No, I appreciate you guys coming in. I say that to all my guests and they think I'm like lying, but if you guys don't come in, I don't have a show, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys coming in. You guys were collegiate baseball players at the College of New Jersey, kind of got some injuries along the way. And then you got degrees in health and exercise science from College of New Jersey.
Correct.
And then Joe, after that, you went on to get your chiropractic.
Correct.
And AJ, you went on to get your acupuncture.
Yep.
So with the acupuncture piece, is it like a doctorate in acupuncture?
So-
How does that work?
So it's a master's degree.
Okay.
There are academic doctorates within the field. They do nothing to really benefit in the clinic per se. So I didn't pursue it. I wanted to get right into the business side of things. I haven't decided to go back and get it. It's not going to benefit me in any way besides put that DR in front of my name, and I don't need it. So there's no reason. So it's a master's degree.
Master's degree in
Yep.
acupuncture. And where did you go to get that?
It's called Eastern School of Acupuncture. It's in North Jersey.
Okay, cool. And Joe, after College of New Jersey, you went on to get your chiropractic degree.
Correct.
And where'd you get that at?
So I received my doctorate in chiropractic in upstate New York Chiropractic College. So very
And-
similar to the studies that AJ had to do afterwards. You have to do like a post-grad type
Mhm.
stuff. So we do that, and then, it's 5 years.
It's a
Well,
5-year.
it's 3.5 years,
Mhm.
but 5 years worth of schooling. So it's 10 semesters.
Yeah. When you guys played college baseball, you guys got injured, and there wasn't like a facility around like yours really for like that college athlete to go. It was like probably the training office right on campus.
Yeah.
So talk about that piece a little bit. Both pitchers,
Correct.
Yeah.
both righties.
Yes.
Who had the better fastball?
In high school, it was him, and then injuries, I overtook him by the time we got to college.
Yeah. So talk about like the injuries you developed, why they developed, and how you really didn't have a facility like yours today to treat, or even better, not to treat, but to prevent.
All right. So
He blew my elbow out at 15 years old. During in high school, and then I rehabbed, and the basic rehab that the typical person goes to. That you're in the room with grandma and grandpa, and maybe maybe a tennis player of some sort. That's typical tennis player.
17 years.
No. What I'm saying is, you're lucky if you get the athlete in the room with
Yeah,
you.
no.
And the physical therapists or the people that are rehabbing you are typically doing. They're printing out a sheet of paper that says this is the treatment for an elbow,
Yeah.
or this is the treatment for a knee. It's not. There's nothing, programmed for a youth athlete out there.
Yeah.
And even at that young age, I started thinking. My father was a chiropractor and an acupuncturist himself, so I knew I was going to be going into the field. I knew right from then, and I always thought about, wait, how can there needs to be a place like that rehabs me, a 15-year-old athlete that wants to now become a professional athlete. How do I get from here to there? And and I always had this dream in my eye, and I always shared it with him once I got to college that this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Joe, what about you?
So I had an injury when I was 16 where I blew out my knee in a game, got in a collision in the outfield. And same thing, you go to a facility, you get treated, and you're in a facility with a bunch of other people that are not necessarily athletes, and they're older, or they're just your average everyday people. And your typical rehab was the same. I hurt my knee, so I'm doing the same knee rehab that the guy next to me is doing, and he has a knee problem, and he might be 58 years old and not looking to get back to play college baseball. He's just looking to get back
the
to
stairs.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the treatments, and we did that for whatever, it took 6 months, come back, play baseball again, and then when we were in college, those two injuries kind of got us to that college at the same time.
Mhm.
That's how we met. And then moving forward, we just always talked about, because we always had little nagging injuries here and there. You play college. We always talked about how it would be cool if there was a place one day where all the athletes could go, and we can help them get better and prevent so that they don't have to go through the same hardships that we went through with our careers.
Yeah.
And I've seen that firsthand in those, rehab places. My son, when he was baby, he had torticollis, so he had like that crooked neck.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were taking him there and they were doing like stretches and stuff. But I saw like, the older gentleman and then the younger kid kind of all doing the same shoulder exercise on some kind of band on, tied to the wall or whatever. So, you guys do something a little bit different out there. Talk about when you were in college, a little bit more in depth about you guys had the idea about the facility that you guys built, to kind of go on like the car ride back and forth when you were walking to classes, because I think that's the cool piece. I think that's the story people want to hear. Your 20-year-old, 21-year-old kids in college.
We were both bullpen pitchers, actually. So we kind of, almost every game we pretty much spent together, typically either in the dugout, and then we would go warm up together. We, stretch each other out, eventually warm up throwing. And that whole time for 2 straight years, we pretty much were always in the bullpen together talking about this. So we kind of just always were just, laying that groundwork, those seeds that eventually took fruition now today. So which is pretty cool.
So a lot of went over into bullpen, spit some seeds.
Yeah, that's it. Bullpen's where everything went down in our school. That's where all the the good stuff was happening with the pitchers.
So now let's fast forward a little bit, right? You're out of getting your master's, you're out of getting your doctorate in chiropractic, and now you're like, we're really going to do this. Talk a little bit about actually setting up the business from, you don't even have anything to looking for space. And
I'm going to take a step back there. So
I started working at a few other facilities.
Okay.
Joe was, also, he graduated 2 years after me, so I was actually out of school for a couple of years working. And we always thought about this, and we were both, I guess, about 26, 27 months ago, we were both kind of in positions that we just knew that wasn't our future. We both were constantly, emailing, calling each other, texting each other, pretty much just saying, I think it's time to do it. I think it's time, like, hey, let's start looking for real estate. Let's start looking for, places to rent. Is it going to be out by Jackson, by you, or is it going to be here at the shore where I'm from, and stuff like that? And I'm like, you know what, dude, there's no better place to live than at the shore. Come join me at the shore. It's the best place to be. You'll love it. And, of course, he does. And, it kind of was just like we just dove head first. We didn't really think about too much in the aspect of really risk or even the long term. We just were like, there's the risk completely outweighs what the situations we were in.
Yeah.
We just dove
I
for
think
it.
that happens so many, like you go to school for whatever your thing is, whether it's teaching or accounting or what you guys did, and then you get out in the real world and you're like, this is really what I'm going to do. So I think a lot of those younger guys have a little bit more energy and they kind of want to go out on their own and kind of do it right.
I think it comes from I don't know, I feel like everybody's afraid to fail.
Sure.
And I think that was the biggest thing that him and I had to fight was the outside voices telling us that you could fail at this. You could fall on your face. This could not work. This won't work. You can't do this. There's no way you'll be able to do it. I was able to do it, but there's no way you can do it. And then we kind of looked at each other and, this was 2.5 years ago when we started talking about it. So I was just about 27, almost 28. AJ was about 30. So we were like, right now, at the time I wasn't married or engaged. He was almost engaged, but not married or engaged. There's no kids. So we looked at each other and we're like, all right, let's just make a deal.
now we're never
Take a shot. Worst case, 6 months from now, we have to close up and we go get in a job just like we have right now, and we're in the exact same spot we are right now.
Sure.
But at least we took a shot.
Yeah.
And then we did. And now we're sitting in a much better position than we were, 2 years ago.
How long has Thrive actually been established? Like when did you guys actually start? So how long have you been open?
2000.
December 2017.
Yeah.
So 2017. So about 2 years right now, a little bit more.
We're
Almost
approaching
2 years.
Approaching 2 years. All right, cool. What were some of the things that came up when you guys were like, yes, we're doing it, you're going forward, and some of those unexpected, we didn't know that was going to
right from
happen?
the start, just right as simple as getting that LLC drawn up, talking to lawyers, actually understanding, breaking off those the agreements or contracts or whatever we had with our ex-employers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was, that became, there was some issues there. There's always those things that you run into, and right from the start. I mean, signing leases, and in the medical field, there's billing insurances, and those type of things, and swiping credit cards, and just things that you just don't really account
Yeah.
for. And we ran into some hiccups along the way, and I mean, we overcame them, but we still run into hiccups today. It's no one's perfect.
And I think you're always probably gonna, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's like another thing. Like a lot of the things that him and I have learned doing this together is that, I mean, the one thing we say to each other all the time is there's not one person out there that actually knows what to do or how to do it. They just learn as they're going.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something like him and I, we try to stick with. It's like if we have an idea, we don't go, oh, well, we're never going to be able to figure it out because we don't know how to do it. We just go, all right, this is what we want to do. Let's not stop till we get there, and we'll just figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I mean, I guess that's the same realm you're in just as like a human being as you become an adult. Because like when you're a kid, you always assume that your parents or the adults in your life know exactly what to do. And then as you're growing up, you're like, they didn't have a clue what
Yeah,
to do. They
sure.
just kind of figured it out as they went.
Yeah.
And that's what we've instilled in what we do every single day.
It's so true. You have to kind of take the jump and you learn as you go. I had a girl in here a couple of weeks ago, Lena Piccinini. She does hair. And what she was telling me when she went to cosmetology school is at cosmetology school, they don't teach you how to do hair. They teach you how to take the test to get your license so you can work in a salon, and you learn when you're in the salon.
Correct.
Like, it's crazy to me. So I think, I'm going to be honest, me with the podcast, I didn't know what I was doing.
No.
Nah,
And you still probably don't know everything, but every single time you do,
It
you get a
gets-
little bit better
It
at
gets a
something
little
else.
better. It gets a
Yeah.
little better, yeah. One of the things we talked on the phone yesterday a little bit, we talked about kind of like a negative connotation that goes along with the chiropractor or the acupuncturist, and how I think now in 2019, I think people are kind of getting away from that a little bit. And I shared, I went to a chiropractor, and I was a little leery when I went, and because you hear the things, oh, you're going to have to come to me for the rest of your life, 2 times a week or 3 times a month for the rest of your life. And, the guy I went to was great. He told me I had to meet with him 5 to 7 times. And when he told me that, Chris, I need to see you 5 to 7 times, and then you're going to be good to go. I felt he was valid after that. He wasn't that like snake oil salesman you hear about. Joe, talk a little bit about the chiropractic piece and why it is valid today, and how that kind of negative stereotype is changing.
So I think that the negative stereotype is changing simply because of more education out there. So more people have the ability to educate themselves on it's no longer the type of world where like you want to go to a chiropractor, there's one on the corner, that's the one you go to. Now you have the ability to go online, look at their website, look at their social media, look at all the things and see if they're the type of office that's treating what you want to treat or what you need treated. So chiropractic is very specialized now. Every office is a different type. Like we're very sports medicine, that's what we do. If someone comes in the door and I am not comfortable with what they need to be treated, or it's something I don't really do often, I'll refer them right out to someone I know or a friend of mine that is more versed in that. So I think that that's something that's huge that wasn't around in the beginning, because chiropractors I felt like wanted to treat everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to treat everything, because I want to treat the stuff that I know how to treat very well, and then I want to give the other people the opportunity to treat, because at the end of the day, I want the patient to get better. I don't want them just to come to me forever.
Yeah.
And I guess the stereotype you're talking about, how you got to come 2 times a week, 3 times a week forever. I just had a new patient before I left, and I looked at her before she left, and it's the same conversation every time. We see people commonly 3 to 6 visits. Within 3 to 6 visits, you should be making some sort of progress. If by the 6th visit you're not making any progress, I'm going to get you out of here and get you to somebody who can help you, because then this isn't what you need. And I think that giving someone an expiration date or giving someone something to look forward to lets them know that you're not just guessing or throwing caution to the wind. You have a plan. And when you have a plan, you're pretty valid at what you're doing.
I'm a gym teacher full time, right? Some guys are gonna get mad at me, phys ed. But I had a kid come in off of knee injury, and he brought me a note, and he's like, "Here's the note." And I looked at the note, and it was like from the chiropractor, and I'm like, "But you have like a leg injury." He's like, "Yeah, I know, but my dad knows the guy, and I'm cleared." So as soon as I look at the heading, I go, "Dude, this guy's not like a good chiropractor because he just wrote your note because you just told me that because he's friends with your dad, AJ, what about your piece with the acupuncture?
It goes hand in hand with the chiropractic. It's very similar, and I mean, I think a lot of people too think of chiropractic. It's like, okay, you're treating the spine, just like what you just said. Oh wait, you're a chiropractor. Why are you looking at a knee? I think a lot of people get mixed up that chiropractors only work on the spine or acupuncturists just stick needles in people and hope for the best. You know, really, all those are licensed to practice medicine in the state of New Jersey, and then we decide we do what we can do. Obviously, it gives me the license to stick a needle in people, and it allows for Joe to manipulate bones at a certain torque or certain ranges of motion that other licenses can't practice. But we can also do a lot of the same things, and we can also work on a lot of the same things together, which ultimately why Thrive has really essentially gone to where it's gone because of the combination of the treatments we do. If we have an elbow, we work on the elbow together. If we have a knee injury, we work on the knee together. If we have a spine injury, we both work on the spine together. So it's really one of those things that just because he's a chiropractor, he doesn't just work on spine. He does work on knees a lot. And just like me, I work on a lot of spines too as an acupuncturist. So it's not that just like you're kind of saying, that connotation that people have this kind of thought of what we do. It's very different than probably what you think.
So you guys kind of work as a team inside the office as well. It's not
always.
That's
you go
really
to
what
Joe
it
and
is.
right?
Yeah, every I would say 90 to 95% of the patients in the office do multiple treatments, if not all three, while they're there. We have physical therapy there as well. Great physical therapist. He's very like-minded as us, which is very difficult to find, but he is very sports-minded. I would say the environment of our office is that of like a team, like a group of teammates. No matter what patients are in, it's odd. It's almost like an athletic training room that like everyone's just like laughing and joking with each other. They all play sports. They kind of know each other, kind of don't know each other. We have the privilege of working with a lot of professional athletes, in particular with the UFC. So we get patients that come in that know who they are, then they ask, and then they start talking. So patients get to meet probably some of their role models through this realm. So, but the way we treat as practitioners, the three of us, we're a team. So in a team, there's working together, there's joking around, making little fun of each other as you're poking at each other throughout the day, and the patients see that, and that reminds them of the fact that they are athletes and they come from a team where they're all doing that with each other. So they immediately get super comfortable. And then it starts happening back and forth with us. Like they'll start messing with us and we're messing with them. And I just think that overall it's
a little bit of a lighter mood.
It's great. It's a team thing. I come in, we're all working together every day like a team. And then it starts to become like a family because everybody knows each other a little bit. You know little things about what's going on and you're getting real comfortable there. And in a rehab setting, you see the same patient 2 or 3 times a week for maybe 6 to 8 weeks. So we're seeing the same patients through the summer. The college kids are home. They're getting treated. So, you're joking around with them. They're joking around with you, finding out what's going on for the weekend, this, that, whatever. It's just an environment that's very conducive to treating the type of people we want to treat. And if it was a different type of population, I don't think that it would work for them.
Yeah.
Some people may find that type of environment a little intimidating.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, there's probably an office out there for everybody, and that's what you guys built inside yours. We talked a lot about like treating an injury, but people can go to you also for prevention as well, right?
So
correct. I mentioned yesterday on the phone when we were chatting is that we're trying to break that mold. We don't want to be the place that you have to go to. We want to be the place that you want to go to. We have a lot of athletes that just literally just opt to come on a regular basis to just keep themselves feeling very good. And also, that something might come up along the way. They might have been training yesterday and they might have tweaked their back or hey, can you check out my shoulder? It's a little sore today. But, they still put it on the schedule once a week or whatever it is that they're part of their schedule. But, like you said, we're not telling them to be there. They want to be there. They want to be in that environment. They want to be using the cryotherapy chamber. They want to be using the sports compression boots and then possibly get a quick adjustment from Joe or get a quick, needling session to just help with recovery for their sport so that the next day they can get into the gym or get on the field and perform at their highest level.
Yeah, and I'm 44 right now, and when I do things, it hurts after. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when I did go see the chiro, it helps. It's unbelievable. Like I was walking out of down the hallway one day, and another woman told me, she goes, she just walked out of the doctor's office. I said, how do you know? She goes, I can tell by the way you're walking and the smile on your face. And she was 100% right. Like I feel better when I leave there. It's crazy. So I just think there's a lot more stuff out there for like the average Joe or the weekend warrior kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? AJ, you mentioned like a little bit of some of the services you guys offer. You guys do more than just the chiro piece and just the acupuncture piece. So talk a little bit more, like if I'm a patient coming in, what else do you guys offer besides the chiro and the acupuncture?
So like Joe mentioned before, we do have physical therapy there. And then we also have a recovery lounge that was kind of a thought that, Dr. Joe and I had right from day one, that we would have a recovery lounge for these athletes that, like, while they're there, they could also, use these thing called vasonomatic compression sleeves that you probably you see a lot of pro athletes using them in big time $1 million locker rooms that these college athletes or these pro teams. But we kind of wanted to bring that feel to our office by giving that option to our athletes or even just our everyday clients. And then we also have an electric cryotherapy chamber. It's one of few that are here in the United States. One of very few on the East Coast. It's fully oxygenated, no nitrogen involved. And it was custom built in Germany for us. So it's a pretty neat machine.
Talk a little bit about that, because I'm interested in the cryo piece, but it makes me a little bit nervous to go like in there.
So, understandable to be nervous. Our machine was built so in our office, function and aesthetics are just as important. So what we do in our office, everything has to function to the best it can, but it also needs to look as good as it functions, because we believe that that's just as important. So the electric one, standard cryotherapy, is nitrogen based. It's a chamber usually that your head sticks out of, and it cools you from the feet up. Pumps in liquid nitrogen. There's moving. You must move in order to not have the nitrogen hit a certain part of your skin for too long to burn you. And there are effects and there are benefits to the nitrogen. Our electric cryo is basically a giant freezer with a full glass front. So when you're standing in it, you can see out. You do not have to move because there is no liquid nitrogen hitting you. It is extremely cold. Our machine has gotten down to negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 60 degrees colder than any other machine can do, because at the end of the day, liquid nitrogen dissipates as it travels through the chamber, so it's not as cold at the top as it is at the bottom, pretty common. Our machine, the cold air pumps from the top and actually falls to the bottom, so the top and the bottom are the same temperature. And it works with your body in a couple different ways. Because our chamber gets your head in there, it triggers certain releases of proteins within the body that are from your brain through like a fight or flight simulation. So your body is trying to fight inflammation through that sense, which is great. And then the other thing that it helps with is obviously when you get super cold, all the blood pumps out of your extremities back into your core. And then as you warm up again, fresh blood goes back down into your extremities. So that helps to flush out inflammation through your arms and legs. But then you get that overall central nervous system by the brain and the head cooling sensation, which helps to reduce inflammation in that sense as well.
How long do you go in?
3 minutes. 3 minutes is the recommended amount. The guys that built the machine actually told us that when our machine is pumping up over negative 170, they really don't recommend any more than like 2.5 minutes at that temperature. Because it is that cold, there is a threshold to where if you start to go for too long, you can actually trigger somebody to become sympathetic, which is bad. You don't want them to become that. You want them to stay right in that fight or flight and never actually fully get into the sympathetic zone. So our machine, because of how cold it gets, they tell us to make sure that over a certain temperature, we don't let them go longer than 2.5. There are patients that come in and are like, I want to do 5 minutes. And we're like, no, you're not allowed. 3 minutes. That's what you're doing is 3 minutes. And then usually by the first one, they're like, yeah, I don't think I would have been able to do more than 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, that would freak me out a little bit. I think being in the ice box for 3 minutes.
You're welcome to come in anytime and try it.
I might take you up on that. I'm going to be honest, because I'm interested in it. I'm like, I think that stuff's pretty cool. Is there anything other stuff that you do in your office that we didn't talk about today?
I mean, think about it. What we do there, even within the chiropractic or within the acupuncture or within the physical therapy, are just very different than, like the typical place. Dr. Joe has some extra schooling that he did on top of his typical chiropractic, and same thing with me with acupuncture. Like even with my acupuncture, I do it's all electrical acupuncture, and it's neurofunctional to help, essentially allow for your body to perform at the highest level, recover at the highest level. It's not just there. You're not there for anxiety or stress to relax. It's not a spa. It's there to have you as an athlete perform at the highest level. Yeah.
Perform better. And Joe, just talk about, or AJ, you can too. I mean, you talked a little bit about. You guys have pro athletes coming to your place. It's not
Correct.
just
Every
guys
day,
like
all
me
day.
So
who
our
play tennis on the
recovery
weekends and-
our recovery lounge is full of signed pictures from all the professional athletes that have been there, and then we also have memorabilia that they send us that we hang up on the walls as well.
So I just want everybody to know
I
that.
know out there, like you guys treat the pro athlete, and you also treat the guy that plays tennis on the weekend.
And they
has
get no
some-
different treatment.
Correct.
They
Yeah.
get treated all together at the same time, and there's no difference. Everyone's treated the same way, and it's fun. You know?
Yeah. If people want to reach out to you, give your website, your social, all that kind of stuff.
Essentially, it's Thrive Spine and Sports Rehab. It's a .com. It's a long one, but that's what was available.
If you Google Thrive anywhere, if you Google Thrive Spring Lake, you'll probably find it. A
Yeah.
lot of times I don't even get to past Thrive and it starts showing up. That'd be the easiest way to get in touch with us. And
We're all over Instagram.
and we are all over Instagram, like AJ and myself. Like that's one thing that we try to pride ourselves on too, is him and I still do the communication of that from the beginning. So anything on Instagram, that any communication back or things like that comes from either him or me. So you can get in touch with either of us, and then if it's something that we think can be volleyed up to one of our office staff, we give it to them.
Anything else? I know you guys got to get back to the office. You're kind of on like your lunch break right
It's all
now.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. No, I mean it was great to come out here. We're definitely excited to be able to explain a little bit more of what we do and why we chose to do this, and just get our name out as many different places as we can.
No, I appreciate
Exactly.
it. Joe and AJ from Thrive Spine and Sports Rehab, guys, Spring Lake. Look them up.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for coming in.